Shalom. Call Allah Yahweh Shemi Al Shai Bashem Kakadash. That honors to the apostles at Great Millstone that rule and teach well, that taught us this truth. To the Akim on the four corners, teaching this truth, risking our lives each and every week on the highways and the byways. And to the brothers and sisters tuning in for edification, coming with another lesson. And this lesson is going to be entitled, You Cannot Serve Two Masters. And when you think about our people, the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, they have pretty much this notion, that they want to become someone in this place, in Babylon the Great. They're trying to be successful. And they don't realize that this place is done, you know what I'm saying? But they refuse to hearken to this truth. They know this truth has been preached throughout the four corners of this earth, you know what I'm saying? The brothers has been out on the highways and the byways, and they don't want to, come back to the Most High. But right now, you better hearken. You better hearken to the Most High real soon. And what's that scripture? Sirach 5 and 7. Let me get that real quick. Sirach 5 and 7. Make no tarrying to turn to the Lord Yahweh Shemi Al Shai, and put not off from day to day. For suddenly shall the wrath of the Lord Yahweh Shemi Al Shai come forth. In thy secret thou shalt be destroyed and perish in the day of vengeance. Yeah. The day of vengeance is coming, you know what I'm saying, to this world. And the people who it's going to affect, it's going to be, you 2/3 niggas, You 2/3 niggas don't want to realize that this place is done. Don't you see what's going on in the earth right now? You know what I'm saying? Right now, there's a war over there, in our land right now. Right now, there's like earthquakes, hurricanes, you know what I'm saying? It's going throughout the world, you know what I'm saying? The uproar, the people, So now is the time to, to turn back to Yahweh Shemi Al Shai and repent, Acts 3 and 19, Because if you don't, it's over, you know what I'm saying? And in this particular scripture, the Lord is telling our people, you know what I'm saying, get it together, you know what I'm saying, before it's too late, You have that grace period, you know what I'm saying, to turn back to the law, statute, and commandments. And those laws were only given to Israel, the nation of Israel, the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, And like Micah 2 and 10, depart from this place, paraphrasing, Depart from this place because this place is pretty much done. And we should not be trying to join hand in hand with the wicked, you know what I'm saying? But that's our people, Our people is against, this truth. They're against Yahweh Shemi Al Shai, And the head apostles, the elders, the bishops, and the rest of the Akim, is sighing and crying, prophesying the downfall of Babylon the Great, which is A.K. America, A.K.A. America, And we see our people going off each and every day, man. Our people is going off, man. They would rather keep going off instead of, listening to Yahweh Shemi Al Shai and do what he say do. They'll just continue to go off, And one thing our people choose not to do is to better their self, you know what I'm saying? And what's much more is to better their self is to come back to Yahweh Shemi Al Shai. Our people would rather just keep on sinning, you know what I'm saying? They would rather keep on doing what the heathens do, And coming up these upcoming months, it's gonna be all these pagan days, and our people gonna be celebrating that stuff, man, because they refused to serve the true master, and that's Yahweh Shemi Al Shai. They would rather serve Satan. You know what I'm saying? They don't want to serve the true living power. But that's why the elect is putting up curses every day. You know what I'm saying? To have this place destroyed. You know. And like I said in one of my videos, the true riches is this truth. You know what I'm saying? But our people want to serve the wrong master. You know, they want to serve this world. You know, they fail to realize this world is nothing. It's nothing. Let me go to 1 Timothy chapter 6, verse 10. For the love of money is the root of all evil, which while some covet after, they have erred from the faith and pierced themselves through with many sorrows. Yeah, because, our people, have that mindset. They have that mindset on this place. They're so intrigued with this place instead of letting this place go. You know what I'm saying? One of the things that they want to do is they want to make, they want to make a lot of money. You know what I'm saying? They want to establish their own business. You know what I'm saying? Or either they want to make it into these, they want to make it into sports, you know what I'm saying? Like the NFL or NBA, or they wishing, you know what I'm saying? God, please bless me so I can win the lotto, you know what I'm saying? Or they want to become, being a movie star or, in the music industry. But they fail to realize that's all going to go downhill, man. Because when you have to join hand in hand with those things, you got to sell your soul. You know what I'm saying? And for the love of money, you have our people that they're willing to do whatever. You know what I'm saying? They'll turn their back on their own family. You know what I'm saying? They'll sacrifice someone in their own family just to get some more money. You know what I'm saying? Which is crazy. They will rather do whatever it takes to become a millionaire. Which a millionaire, that's peanuts, man. To the elites, that's not no money. But Jake, what can you tell Jake, man? Jake mindset is lost. You know what I'm saying? They worrying about the things of this world. You know what I'm saying? Which don't mean a dang thing. They lost in the sauce, man. And that is why you always see, movie stars, pretty much, and actors. You'll catch them wearing these dark glasses. You'll catch them, doing interviews and stuff like that. And every time you see them, they have those dark glasses on because they sold out. They did a lot of wickedness and they're embarrassed about the things that they done. They regret that. They sold their soul. And like I said again, they serving the wrong master. You can't serve two masters. You have to serve Yahweh Shemi Al-Shai. That's what's going to bring you peace. You know what I'm saying? Even though you're going to still go through trials and tribulations, that's the only build your faith up, because you can't get comfortable in this place. We ain't supposed to be comfortable in this place. We're supposed to go through some hard times to build our faith up for what's coming, you know what I'm saying? And Jacob's trouble is here, Let me go to Matthew chapter 4, verse 4. But he answered and said, it is written, man should not live. Slacky, that's the wrong scripture. I thought, no, James. It's James. Yeah, that's what I want. James 4:4. Slacky on that one. Yeah. Ye adulterers, and you adulterers, know ye not that the friendship of the world is intimate with the Most High? Whosoever therefore will be a friend of the world is the enemy of the Most High. You know? So whatever our people, whatever Esau pushes, our people just basically eat up. And like I say, this scripture starts off, saying, adulterers and adulterers. And one thing our people have done, and now, is have sacrificed their self, and they have done a lot of abominable things. You know what I'm saying? They basically love to worship other idols. You know what I'm saying? And that's how it was that's how it was, back in ancient times before we went into, captivity under the Assyrians, under, the Babylonians. The northern kingdom went in captivity with the Assyrians, and the southern kingdom went in captivity with the Babylonians. You know what I'm saying? It's because they was worshiping other idols. And that's what our people love to do. You know what I'm saying? And one of the things also Esau pushed on our people is that black culture. You know what I'm saying? And our people love to sin on a daily basis. They refuse to change their mindset, their behavior, because they want to keep on doing the things that are not pleasing to Yahweh Shem Yahushua. They want to please their flesh, and that's not the right thing to do. You know what I'm saying? Let me read that back again. James chapter 4, verse 4. Ye adulterers and adulterers, know ye not that the friendship of the world of intimacy with the Most High, whosoever therefore will be a friend of the world is the enemy of the Most High? Yeah. So if you're a friend of this world, you know what I'm saying, you are an enemy to the Most High, Yahweh Shem Yahushua. You know what I'm saying? That's why you can't be teeter-tottering. You can't be jumping on one side saying that you with the truth, and then on another minute you on this side saying, oh, I'm with the world. No, it don't work like that. You know what I'm saying? And that's what our people love to do, because you know what? They their father, ye are your father, the devil. You know what I'm saying? And let me go to that scripture, John 8 and 44. Yep, because our people love to follow, Esau. Whatever he say do, that's what they follow. You know what I'm saying? They love that, John chapter 8, verse 44. Ye are of your father the devil, and the lust of your father ye will do. Yeah, he was a murderer from the beginning, and bold not in the truth, because there is no truth in him. When he speak a lie, he speak of his own, for he is a liar, and the father of it. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah. Esau is just basically, he always, speak lies. You know what I'm saying? That's his MO. But our people think that it's not lies. That's why they are ye father the devil. You know what I'm saying? Following after Esau either. And whatever he say do, they do. If you come to one of them and tell them, hey, you know what I'm saying? The Most High said we don't supposed to eat pork. They'll look at you like you crazy. You know what I'm saying? Like you got 3 eyes, Well, my grandmama, she always ate pork. And nothing that happened to her, I'm going to eat pork. You know what I'm saying? Or if you tell them that, hey, you can't celebrate any of these pagan holidays, you know what I'm saying? Like that pagan Christmas. Well, I'm doing it for the kids. It's always an excuse. You know what I'm saying? It's always an excuse with Jake or Eve. And they don't realize that, you know what I'm saying? You taking a side that's not really profitable. You know what I'm saying? You worrying about your flesh, and that's not good, not at all, So you got to realize that, hey, come back to Yahweh Shem Yahushua. Let me go back to that James chapter 4, verse 4. James chapter 4, verse 4. Ye adulterers and adulterers, know ye not that the friendship of the world is enmity with the Most High. Whosoever therefore will be a friend of the world is the enemy of the Most High. Yeah. Whosoever therefore will be a friend of the world is the enemy of the Most High. You see, our people don't even really want to understand the scriptures. You know what I'm saying? They love this world. They don't love Yahweh Shem Yahushai, you know. So one of the things that they love to do is, instead of hearkening to this truth, they'll just go to church, you know what I'm saying? And most of them, these churches, they got just, it's mainly like women in there, you know, Eve and these old bottles, you know what I'm saying? Because they want a good feel message. They want to keep on receiving lies. They want the pastor to tell them, hey, you're going to prosper, you're going to get a new house. Next year, you're going to get a brand new car. You know what I'm saying? You're going to get a real good job, you know, making this amount of money, you know what I'm saying? 100,000 a year, which that's nothing, you know what I'm saying? So they refuse to hearken to this truth, you know what I'm saying? You know, and pretty much that beast system that they love to adapt to, you know, that 2.0 Rome, you know, yep. And that's what they do. You know, Esau pushes whatever they pushes, you know, they're okay with it. You know what I'm saying? Like two men can marry, two women can marry each other. You know what I'm saying? That's worldly stuff. They're okay with that. They don't shun that down. They don't turn that down. They agree with that. And that's why I say you can't serve two masters. You got to choose one side. You know what I'm saying? And the best side to choose is this truth. Yahweh Shem Yahushai. Let me go to 2nd Ezra chapter 15, verse 6. For wickedness have exceedingly polluted the whole world, and their hurtful works are fulfilled. Yeah. And in this world right now, there's none but wickedness, you know what I'm saying, at a high, you know, is at an all-time high, you know what I'm saying? You know, this is the pride of Esau, you know what I'm saying? You know, I read, you know, James 4:4, you know. If you love this world, you know what I'm saying, you pretty much an enemy of the Most High, you know? You know? And right now, there's things in this world that's, you know, is, you know, put up on a high pedestal, like some of the food that we eat, you know what I'm saying? Like the shrimp and the crab, when you watch these commercials, they glamour, they make this like this is a delicacy, you know what I'm saying? Like this is something good to eat, but it's low-level food. It's the bottom of the ocean where it's supposed to clean, shrimp's supposed to clean the water so the water can look clean, you know? So they use, you know, things, you know, to manipulate our people's mind, and our people just go ahead and accept it, you know? And that's what they love to do. They go ahead and accept it because our people love folly, you know what I'm saying? They love folly, you know what I'm saying? Let me go to that. Ecclesiastes chapter 10, verse 6. For folly is set in great dignity, and the rich sit in low places. Yeah, because, like I said, our people love, you know, they believe low-level stuff is high-level stuff. So they love folly, you know what I'm saying? Whatever Esau pushes out there, they accept, you know. But that's how our people operate, you know. You know. And that's why we are in the spirit of Jeremiah 28:28, you know. So, you know, you can only serve one, you know. And you need to come back to Yahweh Shem Yahushai. And only who won't come back is the elect in the 1/3. 2/3 and the heathen's gonna be destroyed, you know. Jacob and Eve's gonna be right along the story with Esau, you know. But, you know, that's how it's gonna be. You know, and there's nothing you could do, you know. You know, that's how Esau want to operate, you know. That's how Esau want to operate. Let me go to Matthew's chapter, and I'm going to kind of close it out real soon. I'm going to Matthew's chapter 6, verse 24, and that's basically what I'm speaking on right now. You know, you can't serve two masters. No, and this is Yahweh Shai speaking. No man can serve two masters, for either he will hate the one and love the other, or else he will hold to the one and despise the other. Ye cannot serve Most High and Mammon. You know what I'm saying? And when you look at this world today, people make the master their jobs. You know what I'm saying? They put their jobs on a pedestal. You know, when they don't realize that, man, you can lose your job anytime. There's a lot of people right now today. They're getting laid off. They're losing their jobs. You know what I'm saying? They're not seeing the big picture. Because they're so worried about feeding their flesh. They're seeking after the wrong things. They need to seek after Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua. And that's why I say you can't serve two masters. You know what I'm saying? It's either you're going to love the one and hate the other. In Romans 10:2, our people have a zeal, but not according to knowledge. You know what I'm saying? Paraphrasing. Our people, think they do. And when you see someone with a lot of money, you know what I'm saying? What's the first thing they do? Especially our people, they say, oh man, God bless me. But then when it comes down to the real truth of knowing the Bible, one of the things, they don't even know his true name. They saying Jesus, you know what I'm saying? Which his name is not Jesus, his name is Yahushua. And if you ask any of these people, would you let all that go? You know what I'm saying? The fame and money. Man, Jake. Jake ain't letting that go because Jake is attached to this place. He's attached to this world, you know what I'm saying? He loved this place, you know what I'm saying? Yep. So that's why, you can't serve two masters. And this truth is the true master, you know what I'm saying? This is, and common sense that these people will take, basically take a step back, and see this world is failing, it's going down, Yeah, and that's one thing our people love to do too. They want to hoard this stuff, you know what I'm saying? They had that show out, Hoarders. Our people just like that, you know what I'm saying? They attach to this. Let it go, you know what I'm saying? They have that Stockholm syndrome, they're destroyed for the lack of knowledge, They don't realize that this place is not the place to be, at all. So they fail to realize that, hey, that they need to just let it go, man, And that's Hosea 4:6. They destroyed for the lack of knowledge, For my people are destroyed for the lack of knowledge, because thou hast rejected knowledge, I will also reject thee. You know what I'm saying? And that's what the Most High gonna do at the end. You know what I'm saying? He gonna laugh at your calamity, When that time come, he gonna mock you, for you not, taking heed to this truth, You'd rather serve Esau. Let's go to 1 John chapter 2, verse 15. Love not the world, neither the things that are in the world. If any man love the world, the love of the Father is not in him. Yeah. Don't love this world, man. Because this place is not going to last forever. You know what I'm saying? This place is pretty much done. Why would you love this place? Why would you love this world? Nothing has happened good for us. You know what I'm saying? Even if you're a high-priced slave to the low-level slave, all they're doing is using our people, you know what I'm saying? And all this is leading up to, you know what I'm saying? Leading up to the sea hip that's coming, you know what I'm saying? They want to have total control over our people, and not only our people, their own people, you know what I'm saying? They're gonna put their own people in slavery, which we still slaves now, but you're gonna be hardcore slaves when that sea hip come, That's a future prophecy, You see, Jake is taking pictures with money stacked, you know what I'm saying, over social media. and don't even realize that the money, is devalued. It's not backed by anything. And even when you think that, when a man get on his knees and propose to a woman, give him a diamond ring, they think, diamonds is, something that, he gave me a nice diamond. Man, diamonds ain't worth nothing. You can look it up. That's just all a hustle. Esau just using you. He hustling you. You know what I'm saying? You wasting your money. Now, if you do gold and silver, you know what I'm saying? That's better. But that's going to all be destroyed. You know what I'm saying? So it's better right now to become meek and humble in this world. Don't look at all the flashy things people have, because this place is going to go down. You know what I'm saying? Verse 16, for all that is in the world, the lust of the flesh and the lust of the eyes and the pride of life is not of the Father, but is of the world. See? So I don't understand why our people is proud, you know what I'm saying? Especially when you see like a homeless person, you know what I'm saying? They don't have a pot to piss in, but they super proud, you know what I'm saying? You don't own anything in this world, The true riches is the kingdom, man, to come, you know what I'm saying? That's what you should be laying up your treasures, you know what I'm saying? That is something to look forward to, Not to look forward to some, like the NFL starting, I don't know, this week or next week. But you got these coon niggas, they looking for a stupid ass, excuse my French, they looking for a stupid football game, to come on every Sunday. That's low level, you know what I'm saying? That's low level. Don't worry about that, Another thing our people will do is go out and get they think because they go and get a college degree, slacky, like a PhD or a master's degree, they think that they made it, you know what I'm saying? Which, college is not, it's only one, it's like big pimping you, you know what I'm saying? It's nothing. It's just taking your money, you know what I'm saying? Putting you in debt so you can become even more a slave, you know what I'm saying? The highest education is, the truth, the Bible, you know what I'm saying? On earth. Nothing compares to it, Let's go to verse 17. And the world passed away, and the lust thereof, but he that do the will of the Most High abide forever. Yeah, abide forever will is being obedient to the Most High. Stand true to the law, statutes, and commandments. Being a hearer and a doer of this word, you know what I'm saying? And that's through faith, praying each day, studying to show yourself approved, and also going on the highways and byways, prophesying the downfall of Babylon the Great, you know what I'm saying? Which is AKA America, you know what I'm saying? Because this place is done, man. This place is through, And let me go to my last 1 Corinthians chapter 7, verse 31. And they that use this world as not abusing it, for the fashion of this world pass away. Yeah, because we know you have to get your daily bread, each and every day, because we know this world is going to fade away. You know what I'm saying? And you have to take care of your family. That's an understanding. You know what I'm saying? But don't put your trust in this place. Don't try to make it on this side. You can only serve one master. And the important thing to do is come back to Yahweh Shemi Al-Shai. Serve him. The true living power, which is the true living power of the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. Those are the only ones that have salvation. You know what I'm saying? And on this side, the elect and the 1/3 going to be saved. 2/3 of our people going to even be destroyed. You know what I'm saying? Because they have been destroyed because they have served the wrong master. They have served this world. Which who runs the world? Job 9:24. You know what I'm saying? The earth was given to the wicked, So at the end of the day, we're going to serve one master, and that is Yahweh Shem Yahushua. So I want to close on that. Hope that was edifying to the brothers and sisters. I want to say Shalom. Call all Yahweh Shem Yahushua by Shem Rakakadash. Double honors to the apostles at Great Millstone that rule and teach well, that's taught us His truth. To the Akim on the Four Corners, teaching His truth, risking their lives each and every day on the highways and the byways, fishing for the elect. And to the brothers and sisters tuning in for edification. This is your brother Dawadah. Shalom.